What's up, everybody? Gonna go live, answer some questions this week. Everybody might be busy getting ready for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna turn this light off, actually. I think it's glaring. It ain't too bad. What's up, Steve Jensen? Happy Thanksgiving to you too, buddy. I'm gonna actually go ahead and pull up the first. I was gonna wait till we get some people in here. Let me pull up the first question that I was asked this week. That's why I've got my Milwaukee Rover light on over here. I went and found, I got the battery out of my vacuum. It's down to 2 bars. So let me pull up the first question. User, and it's a bunch of numbers on this one. So user ID 6W04RV8H. He asked about this Milwaukee Rover. So that's that new folding Rover light. Takes your M18 battery, a lot like a top off. He was wanting to know if the light flashes before it goes out to let you know, which all my other Milwaukee M18 lights do. So I'm assuming that it does, but I told him I've actually been running the same 5.0 battery in that since I reviewed it, because I only turned it on in small spurts. It's not on a lot, but my vacuum, I had that high output battery in my pack out vacuum, and I noticed it only had 2 bars. So I've got that on the high setting. I'm gonna let it run, so we'll see if it flashes during this chat. Surely it's gonna run out of battery sometime during this chat, or at least get low. So everybody keep an eye out for the flashing light. We'll answer that question. So that's the first question that I had. Because you can see I answered him. I've been running the same 5.0. This is backwards as I'm reading these things on this thing since let me see. In this thing, since I got it, lasts forever. I use only in small spurts is what I told him. So again, keep an eye out for that. We'll see if it flashes. It might happen whenever I'm not looking. Let's check the chat real fast. Don Juan, what's your favorite power tool? I mean, what could I not live without would be like an impact or a drill, either one, as far as battery powered tool. But I use so many different tools that they're all pretty important to me, but the ones I use the most are going to be my impact drill and circular saw. And then outside of that, probably my oscillating tool. I use it a lot. The oscillating tool is kind of taking the place of a sawzall, jigsaw. Not that I don't still need sawzalls and jigsaws, but a lot of the stuff that I use those for, I get out of oscillating tool. Abraham Perez, hey everyone, happy Thanksgiving, be safe and have fun, he said. You too, buddy. Terry Burton, howdy, happy Thanksgiving, you too. Jason Grower, just relaxing now, spent the whole day raking leaves. Any tool to make that easy? A lawnmower with a bagger on the back, that's about it. I actually just mowed my grass yesterday to chop up the leaves just because I finally decided to, but yeah, there's not really a fun way to do that. What are your thoughts on the Milwaukee M12 Surge? I absolutely love it. You know, it was the very first Milwaukee tool I bought. It's what caused me to actually get into Milwaukee. After I bought that one, I just started buying more Milwaukee tools. It's the #1 thing in my top M12 tools. I've got a video that I made a long time ago, and you know, for the most part, I would say if I was to go back and film that, I think it was top 7, bottom 3. Again, I think it's even my most viewed video. Of course, it was a while back. I've picked up several new M12 tools since then, but for the most part, I think my list would stay pretty well the same. I've replaced the circular saw in that with the newer version. It's a little bit better. But yeah, the M12 Surge, I love it. I'll be glad to see if they come out with a new one. It doesn't matter to me if it's the same power, the same everything. If it works the same, that's fine. I'd like to see the 3 lights on the front. Maybe if they could do that like they've got on the newer impact model. You know, you got those 3 lights. If they could do something like that with the Surge and come out with a new version, that'd be pretty sweet. So again, that was the first question, was does this light over here blink when the battery gets low? So we'll find out on that one. Second question, most of the other questions deal with that Klein 13-in-1 pocket screwdriver. Just released that video for it. It's that new one, the 32611P. It's got the magnetic pickup tool on that side. And then it's also, again, can take the 1/4 inch. I just had a video for that one, but a lot of my questions are going to deal with this. The first one was Gusty Oinker. Will the other Klein 3.5mm shafts work in it? So, again, all Klein's precision driver bits are all 3.5mm. Most of the standard is going to be 4mm, like your Weehaws and all that other stuff. Pretty much anybody else, for matter of fact, I think almost everybody. There could be a few outliers out there, but I think Klein is 3.5, and that's it. What's up, Clint Co? So the question was Klein's other ones going to work in the inside of this one? So I don't have all of them. I did check because Klein has the Mod Box precision driver kit that I have a video for, but actually I gave that to my buddy because he was looking for one and they were sold out at the time, and I just never picked it back up yet because I got so many of them. But I do have this, and I did check that one, and the bits on that, they work in it, but they're longer than what the bits are in this, but you could put them in it. All of them, I will say, so let me start out by saying, all of them will go in it. Some of them are better than others, basically. So this is that 32717 set. So it comes with the precision driver right here. What's up, Wacky Waylon? This one's got a really long length, and then it's also got a shorter length, but that shorter length's probably about the size of the 13-in-1, the new one. The bits inside of this kit are all just one-sided bits, and they're long, but they are 3.5mm. So again, they go in the screwdriver that it's supposed to. But can I put those inside of that new? You can see if I stick the bits beside each other, all it is this is a little bit longer, but you can put those down inside there. It's going to work just fine. So a little bit longer than the other ones, but they do fit in there. And to me, the bits in this set, so like I said, I don't have the Mod Box set on me to show that to you, but the bits in this set are exactly the same length and everything and same shape as the bits in the Mod Box set. So if you've got that one, it's going to work in the same way. They will go in there. They're just a little bit longer, but it's not going to mess up the functionality or anything of it. So that's going to work out. So that's the 32317. Stick that back in there. So we get into the 32581, which is probably the one that the majority of us have in our tool bags. This is just the 4-in-1. It's just basically you swap sides. You've got a small Phillips, a small slotted, and then a bigger Phillips and a bigger slotted. It's the same length no matter which way you swap it. The bits in this one, they are a little bit longer, and they've also got that little ball bearing in there. So here is, again, the bit that comes in the 32611P. Let me go ahead and stick that up there. It's hard for me to get these in my finger, but you can see this is the new one, the 13-in-1 pocket. If I stick it up there, these are definitely longer, and it's got the ball bearing. But can I take and put them in there? They will still go in there. The ball bearing sticks out, so it doesn't go in there. But that is still in there, you know. All of them are gonna go. It's just some of them stick out really far past, so it's not really that big of a deal though. I mean, you're still gonna be able to use that. So you can use those in there. Pocket screwdriver. This is the 32614. What's up, Darren Campbell? I'm gonna check all these messages here in just a second. Let me get through these. So this is the one that I'm actually carrying the most in my pocket. This one's that pocket one where you can extend that out, and then that protects your pocket. The bits in this one are identical to the bits in the one I just showed you, the 32581. So the bits in this one and the bits in this one are the same. So again, those still will work in this, but they stick out quite a bit. You might have a little bit of slop. These are the only ones, like I said, I'll say they do work. They will go in. I wouldn't use these in mine personally, but you could if you really, really wanted to, you could. Now here's the best one as far as the fitment. If you've got the 27-in-1 tamper right there, this is the one I carry in my bag because I actually like the handle on this. It's like a screwdriver. This one has the bit carousel, all those bits inside there, just the same as this new 13 pocket, or 13-in-1 pocket, whatever it is that it's called. It's got the bits inside there as well. If I take a bit out of this one, so here's a double Torx. Here's the bit that came out of the 13-in-1. Let me stick these side by side, see if I can get them in the same picture. They're identical, like same markings on them, same everything. So I can take the ones out of my 27-in-1, slide them in there. It's just like the 13-in-1. So the good thing about that is, let's say, because again, this one's made for plumbers. It's got a bunch of double hex ones in there. So maybe you're somebody who, you really want this screwdriver, but you're like, them hex bits aren't something that I could really use. But if you own this screwdriver, you can kind of take any of the bits out of this one, the ones that you use the most, if you want to carry this one as your daily, and put the ones out of here into here. It's going to work out just fine. So again, I'll take out one of these hex bits out of here. So I'm going to take this out to show you that it fits in the bit carousel. I'm going to take one of these bits out. And then I'm going to take a bit out of the 27-in-1. So I got two Torx here. And I'm going to slide that into that bit slot. It fits in there. So again, now I can change out to whatever bits I normally use. So you would have to buy two screwdrivers if you want multiple bits, but if you already own this one, like I said, I just keep this one in my bag to have a bigger screwdriver. But if you've already owned this one, well, now I done left my bit out of it or whatever. Yeah, see. Yeah, this one's the one that went in here. Because like some of you, again, you might not, this one's for plumbers, so that's why they put these hex keys in there. They are hard to kind of get in and out of there. They snap into place. But you can kind of make your own out of this if you want to pull from here. These are identical. So the 27-in-1 tamper and the 13-in-1 pocket, those have the same exact bits inside of them. So that was the second question. I've probably been blocking the light. Let me check the chat. All right, go back up. Let's see. Thoughts on M12 Surge by Rash. You already answered that. Don Juan, when does an angle grinder cutting disc need to be thrown away after they explode? Question mark. Anytime they've got like a remote split in them, you don't need to use them for sure. And then, I mean, I don't know that I want to tell you for insurance reasons, but I mean, I see people run them down to nubs. It's more so once you start getting a crack in it because you don't want it to blow off. Clint Cole said, great evening, Wacky. Wayland said, hey, I saw those. Let's see, Don Juan, when they show signs of wear, they really don't explode like that unless there's nothing left or your RPM is faster than the disc is rated for. Clint Cole was in Lowe's today picking up my Klein water pump pliers. They were building the Klein plumbing section, told me to come back later. Yeah, mine actually I went in there this morning and they had just put it out because it wasn't there yesterday. So, and in fact, I ordered that 13-in-1 pocket screwdriver. My Lowe's kept saying they had 4 of them, and I'd go in the store and I couldn't find them. And it actually said they were in that plumbing section. So, but I didn't find it in those boxes whenever I was looking the other day. So I thought, well, I'm going to order it and do pickup in store, and then they'll find it and bring it up here. Well, no, they canceled my order twice. I tried that twice. And of course, now I went in there this morning and, they got them out now. They actually had them in there. So Darren Campbell, what's up, Morgan? Hey, did you find out if Lowe's is going to carry the new Klein blackout screwdriver set with the magnetizer? I haven't seen it. I would doubt that they're going to, since they're carrying the other one. My guess is like that one's probably specific to which House of Tools is the only place I've seen that one. And a lot of times the House of Tools ends up being, whatever they've got ends up being on Amazon like a little while later. So maybe that one's going to end up being on Amazon. And I hope that's the case, because then I'll probably go ahead and get it. But I wouldn't think Lowe's would carry both of them. I doubt it, but they could. I don't know, though. Abraham said, come back later. I'm about to buy my Christmas present. Let me in them boxes. Let's see. Ian Bull, happy Thanksgiving. You too, buddy. May you have a lot of, you have a lot of Klein screwdrivers. Yeah, I do. That's not even, I can open up one of them drawers over here and I've got stacks of them. Josu Herrera, happy Thanksgiving from Los Angeles. You too, buddy. Home Depot did that to me. Normally I can find it by matching the barcode, but they claim they had it and refused my curbside pickup. Yeah, mine, I think a lot of times it's the employees don't want to spend the time to look for them or whatever. I've had that happen to me at Home Depot several times where I went and ordered something and it says they got them, which I've told because they're always like, oh, it's probably back there on the truck and not unloaded yet, or, you know, they always say stuff like that. I'm like, well, why don't y'all have it figured out to where it doesn't show that you have it in stock until you put it on a shelf? Because like if I'm, as a contractor, if I look for a light fixture or whatever and it says you've got some and I drive all the way there to get them and then you're like, oh, they're probably on the truck and we can't get them off right now. It's like, well, then you shouldn't show on your app that you've got them because I drove all the way here thinking that you've got them type thing. So I don't know why they, I mean, it can't be that hard. Again, I say this all the time about all kinds of stuff that those stores do. It's like, it can't be that hard in the computer system to be like, until somebody scans this into the spot that they put it on the shelf, it's not really in stock. That's what it should do. But I don't know. Let me see what some of the other questions were on these. Yeah, this was PJ Denzer. Some things get stolen, Brent Chadwick said. He asked, and I don't have these, would the Weehaw double-ended technician bits fit in the 1/4 inch side? And he's talking about, again, that 13-in-1 pocket screwdriver, probably my favorite feature. This is what actually caused me to go get it. Let's see. Because this one, you can take out the whole shaft altogether, just in case you haven't watched that video. And that right there is a 1/4 inch, so you can take any 1/4 inch bit you got, stick those in there, so you can use anything that you've got with this screwdriver. So he was asking about the Weehaw double-ended bits, and he said the 1/4 inch, and I had assumed that that's what he meant. It was a double-sided 1/4 inch bit that would fit in here both ways. I don't have any of those, and then I asked the people I worked around today if they had a Weehaw screwdriver that had those. Nobody had them. But that's what he's talking about. But I do have Klein ones, wherever that is, yeah. Out of the Impact Ratcheting 13-in-1. So here is like a double-sided Klein bit. Has that to where you can take and put it in an Impact if you want to. And so I can take and put these in there. They'll go, but they've got a ton of slop, and then if they pull out all the way, they're not any good. So these don't really work in my opinion. I think it's because you don't have that full, like you've lost that whole end right here. It's kind of tapered down to whatever the bit is type deal. So it doesn't really, it's because even these have a little bit more play. That's got more play in that than what it does if you just get a regular 1-inch bit and stick it in there. I mean, that's tight as all get out right there. There's zero play with a 1-inch bit. You go to one of these, you got a little bit of play. You go to any kind of double-ended, or you go to the Klein double-ended bits like this. And again, I don't know if the Weehaw's slightly different, tons more different, whatever, but there's nothing really to hold that in there. It pulls out real easy. And because you don't have that big beefy end inside of there, it moves way too much. So I would say no, would be my guess. Again, I don't have the Weehaws to try, but I know the Klein ones don't work. Let's see what I do with that end before I lose it. The other question, I had one more, let's see. This was Jeremy, it wasn't really a question, I was just gonna mention it. Jeremy Adkins 5836, awesome tool. I wonder if they could make a magnetic pickup tool in where you could pull on it and make it extendable. That's what he said. What's up, Wyatt the Pilot? What's up, Sparky Gas? So he's talking about, again, the magnetic pickup tool on this one. on this end right here. You can pick up anything that's, you know, metal with it. And it even looked like I wasn't real sure if it wasn't extendable just looking at it in the package, because it had those little rings on it right there, and I thought, well, that maybe that does extend out, but it doesn't. So would be nice if it did though. But Brian Hall made a good point, because I talked about in the video how it's kind of weird that it's that close to the handle. You're gonna have to stick that in some tight spots. But if you're working in a faucet or a electrical box or something, you need to get a screw back in the back, you could always take this out and, you know, stick this back inside of wherever, and then pull out whatever it is that you're going after, and not have this big handle in your way if you need to. So that was a pretty good point. But it is an extendable. Would be nice if it was, like if it was telescoping and you could pull that out. That'd be pretty sweet. I think that was the last question. Let's see. Battery, I haven't seen it flash. Keep an eye on that one. So again, that's what we're, in case you're coming in late, this user, again, it's a bunch of numbers. Do you know if this light flashes when the battery gets low? This one over here, that's what we're watching for. One other thing that I did do that I had talked about doing in a video, actually, let me check this chat real fast. Correct, someone isn't managing inventory. Wacky said about the Home Depot stuff. Brent Chadwick, let's see, something gets stolen. Yeah, so sometimes it's that, but normal times that it happens to me is always it's a new tool and it hadn't even been out yet and nobody's ever even put them out, but they're showing that they got some. I don't know why they show that they have them until they actually put them out. They shouldn't do that, but yeah, that probably happens too. Darren Campbell said, I highly doubt it on the double-sided Weehaw bits. They do, however, work great in the Weehaw Centro Fix adapter, which will work in any 1/4-inch bit driver. What's up, Wyatt the Pilot? And Sparky Gas. Apartment maintenance couple, hello. Question, what brand was the precision bit driver in the big case? So this one here is a Klein too. It's a Klein version. This one was the one they came out with right before the mod box set. It's 32717. And I think I put links to most of these in the shop button if I knew that I was going to be bringing them out here. And if anybody wants a link for something else and you can't find it, you can let me know. But this one's Klein too, if this is the one you're talking about. Let's see, Lockhammer, happy Thanksgiving, you too, buddy. There's a couple, but I'm pretty sure you're referring to the Klein. Hopefully the electrical panel is isolated. Don't go sticking an uninsulated bit of metal held in your hand. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Last best tool, there's Doc. Just replaced the igniter in an LG oven with the prep turkey sitting on the counter nearby. Ran into town and got a part. Store said they ordered 15 of them 10 days ago, down to the last one now. So you got it just in time. You almost had a disaster. I use I bought it several years ago. I've had mine turkey in the refrigerator thawing for the last however many days, but a charbroil oilless fryer, that's what I've used for the last several years on mine. I really like it. I don't have to mess with the oil. It's kind of like it's like an air fryer, but it uses propane, and you can cook outside with it. It takes about 3 hours to cook a 20-pound turkey in it, which I think it says it only holds up to a 16-pound turkey, but I put 20-pound turkeys in it and it does fine. So that's what I've used for the last several years, is charbroil. I think it's called like the Big Easy or something like that. What's up, Mac Bergson? Happy Thanksgiving to you too. The bit driver set in the cloth case. Oh, okay, yeah. This is Kai Wheats. They sent this to me a long time ago whenever I first started the channel. It was actually maybe one of the first things that somebody actually asked to send me, I think. So it came with like an electric screwdriver. I mean, it's not horrible. It's definitely not the best one in the world, but I mean, what I liked about it whenever they saw it is I don't have a lot of these weird bits, and I wouldn't, you know, I don't need these in my job, but it's nice to have a set like this around the house, because you never know what you're going to run into and find some kind of weird stuff. And that was one of the advantages to me of this Klein screwdriver, because the fact that it takes Let me set this. The fact that it takes the 1/4 inch bits, let's see if I can find them. The fact that I can take this out, and this is 1/4 inch. I've got this WeHa adapter right here that's 1/4 inch to 4mm. So Klein's is 3.5. So I can't use any of these bits in any of my Klein precision drivers because these are 4mm and Klein is 3.5. But with this bit piece right here, this adapter, I can take any of these out and use them in this Klein screwdriver. And this set also came with, if I take out this WeHa one, this bit actually came with an adapter anyways that was 1/4 inch to the 4mm so that you could use their stuff too. So I could even put this in there and do that. So this is a good option. Like if you was to buy this one and you just like Klein handles or whatever, but you wanted like a crazy amount of bits, this one comes with this adapter. So you could use this adapter and not even have to buy the WeHa. And then you got all these bits that you can keep this in your kitchen drawer or whatever. You start putting together toys or whatever it might be. I don't know that they sell this one anymore, but they've got like another version that's like in a box. It almost looks like that, what is it called, Fantix or something like that. Has a set of precision drivers. The Kaiweet's new version, I think, looks a lot like that one. But again, that was another reason why I liked the idea of this one, being able to take 1/4 inch bits, is because now I can use all this stuff in a Klein screwdriver if I want to. But this is Kaiweet's, let me see, I don't know if it's got a, yeah, ES20 is what that is. I think I looked it up on Amazon the other day and I couldn't find it though, so but they've got a new version. Let's see. Plumbing with keys. I've been saying your name wrong the whole time. I should have even known that since you've emailed me that what your name is. I've been calling him Plumbing with Quaz the whole time. It's actually Keys. Now you're not too late. Mike Bergson finally convinced my 82-year-old mom to let us make the turkey. The last couple have been iffy at best. Yeah, but man, when it's a tradition like that, they love being able to do that, you know, because it's something they've always done. Wyatt the Pilot says we make ham. We usually do both. We end up doing both, which my wife's Miss Maintenance family and all that, we're doing that tomorrow. And then my family is coming Friday and probably part of Saturday. So we're going to have, I'm fixing a meal tomorrow and on Friday. Everything is bigger in the USA. Look at that mug. You talking about this mug? Or are you talking about this mug? Yeah, this one, I hate this brand's coffee. I absolutely despise it. It's gross. If you drink black coffee, which is what I drink, I don't put anything in mine. Their coffee is meant to have a bunch of stuff mixed into it, and it's not good if you just drink it black. I mean, I will, but it's not good. I got this at a Christmas party, like a work Christmas party one year, and it actually had like a red sweater or something on it. But I love this mug. Like it's one of my favorite mugs. There's Matt HMM. Saw the Klein Connect torque socket set yesterday. Was that something other people have seen? Yeah, I've seen, they've got Torx and Hex inside those mod boxes. And I also noticed that the plumbing cutters, like the, tight space cutters is what I call them, but they're just basically like a round, you slide it over the pipe and just sit there and spin it. They've got a 3-piece set of those in a mod box over in the plumbing. That's one of the, I think that was the only mod box plumbing thing that I saw was the pipe cutters. But yeah, I think I've seen the ones you're talking about. They're silver as far as, and then they go up to the Torx. So it's very much like, I might have some in here. I don't know if I do or not. I did have. Not these, but they look like this, but they're Klein in the mod boxes, I believe, Mac. Is that right? Is that kind of what you saw? That's not what that is, but it looks something like those inside the cases. What's up, Killtronics? That set was 30 bucks. Well, that might, yeah. I can't remember what the price was on them. I was thinking they were more expensive than that, but that might have been $29.99. Are you getting the new M12 SDS? Colin Brown said. It depends. I finally saw the price on it. Home Depot has it on their app, but it's out of stock because they're not selling it yet. I think it's running $229 or something like that, tool only. So if they've got some kind of deal where I can get a battery or something with it at $229, maybe. But here lately they've had the M18 1-inch SDS with a 8 amp hour forced battery on the deal of the day for like just a little bit more than $229. And if I can get an M18 1-inch to get the chisel feature and all that stuff with an 8 amp hour forged battery, it's going to be hard for me to spend $229 on the M12 one, because then I can just keep using my M12 one as the small version for TapCons and whatever else, instead of buying that M12 one to have the ability to do chipping. Well, I'll just get out the M18 if that's the times that I need to use that. So only reason why I might not is because of the price, but I'd like to have it, but it just depends on what the price ends up being. If they've got some kind of deal going on, I might end up getting it. Max said, great gift idea for new dads, a mini screwdriver, extra AA, AAA batteries, save them heartache on Xmas morning. Better late than never, somebody said. What's up? Have you seen or tried the LTT precision screwdriver? No, I haven't used any of their stuff. I haven't. Of course, I'm not a big ratcheting screwdriver fan. Of course, that was the big thing, was that they came out with the best ratcheting screwdriver or whatever. So I knew I wouldn't buy that, but I haven't even seen their precision version. What's up, Raymond? Ferrugia. Ryan Dilworth. What are the essentials of a go bag for maintenance? Trying to build my 80%-ish bag. What size are you talking go bag? Like, because I call my SBLD my go bag, but in all honesty, my MP2X is my go bag because it's what I grab all the time. So all I have in my MP2X is Phillips slotted screwdriver, a pair of diagonals, a pair of Klein, or a pair of Knipex forged wire strippers, and a pair of Cobras. And also now in there I've got my snap-on, the small pair of the Talon grips. But I swap the screwdrivers around. It just depends on whatever job I'm doing, but the other stuff typically stays in there. But I also have my vest usually with that. That's got a small pair of Cobras, small pliers, wrench, small twin grips. But I would say minimum tools-wise, like if you want to be very minimalistic, get you a Klein 11-1 impact or some form of a N1, whatever. And then also, because like if you want a smallest amount of tools, that's the way to go with the screwdriver, because it saves you all that kind of stuff. And then get you a pair of Cobras or that sort of pliers. Again, Cobras are the best in my opinion. And then either adjustable wrench or the Knipex pliers wrench or some version of that. You can get a whole lot done with just them tools right there. I mean, if that's the minimalist thing, if that's what you're going for. Now, go bag to me used to be probably what my SBLD is, and that's got a meter and all that kind of non-contact voltage tester. That's in my MB2X too. I always have a non-contact voltage tester and a precision screwdriver. But I'd say if you have a pair of Cobras, pair of pliers wrench, again, fill in that with whatever version you want. I'm just saying that because that's what's in mine. All-in-one screwdriver, non-contact voltage tester, something to cut stuff with, whether it's diagonals or whatever, you can get a whole lot done in a minimalist way, because you can get a ton done with very little tools. It just might not be the most efficient or enjoyable way to get it done, but you can get a ton done with that. But let me know what you're talking about go bag wise. What size is you talking about? Mac Bergson 73, my mom won $10K and a free trip to Hawaii in a recipe contest, so we do let her make that for Thanksgiving. My mom always made the best dressing or stuffing or whatever it is you want to call it. So we've all got her recipe and we always make it every year. Either me, my brothers, or whoever. Nail polish remover will kill the glazing off it so you can get rid of it. Kill the glazing. Let's see. I missed whatever that was, maybe. Harbor Freight has their 5,000 watt Predator inverter generator on sale for $7.99 for anyone interested. I had the 3500 and it was great for our RV. Can you compare the size of the new Klein micro driver versus the 27-in-1 on screen? Yep. And Matt, you might not have been in here, but the bits in the 27-in-1, they are an exact match in size and everything as the new driver as well. So if glazing on the Starbucks cup, okay. So if you don't like some of the bits in this one and you want to carry this more often as like an EDC and you've got this one, you can rob bits out of this one and they fit inside of here. These two are the only two that are exact match. But here it is, lengthwise, and then thickness-wise, kind of get an idea there. And then, of course, this one, too. Somebody had mentioned they didn't see why you'd call this a pocket screwdriver. It looked like it was too big. And it probably is, you know, in this form factor because this is going to poke through your pocket. But they're intending for you to do this when you're storing it in your pocket. And that makes it exactly the same length as this pocket guy right here. So, yeah, so because that's the one thing about this one, like those hex ones, probably the 1/8 inch I might would use in faucets and stuff like that maybe. The other ones, not so much, but again, maybe there's a T10. I use T10s a lot in cameras and electronic locks. So if I find my T10 one in here, I might swap it over to this one. You know, that kind of stuff, but they are interchangeable out of these two. They're the only two. I showed the rest of them at the beginning. The other ones will work, they just don't work well. And I'm yelling again like I don't have a microphone right here, so I'm probably yelling at y'all. I keep thinking I'm talking to my phone, which is really far away. Let's see. Mac Bergen said that's correct. Sockets just like in that. Yeah, I've seen those. They've also got hex key ones too. They've got a metric and SAE hex keys in that same kind of setup. Had to work up a big appetite for tomorrow, so I just spent time pulling everything out of the work van. How do I get so much in there? Yeah, I go through my tool, which I put my stuff up 90% of the time. But every now and then the back of my truck could get a little bit, just depends on what jobs I got going on, because if I'm doing the same thing for 2 or 3 days, I get to where I just throw the stuff in there because I'm gonna get it right back out the next day. But then if I get a few service calls mixed in with that, it can get a little bit bad. I know y'all probably don't believe that by looking at the way my truck is most of the time, but there's at least a few hours here and there that it doesn't look like it does whenever I film videos. LTT screwdrivers are modified Mega Pros. Amy Fogarty, I need a Harbor Freight mini toolbox to put all these Klein drivers. Morgan has me buying. Yeah, there's a big craze about that. Like I said, I don't go in Harbor Freight that often, and I don't even really, I haven't seen many videos on YouTube, but it's the Harbor Freight groups on Facebook. I mean, they were going bananas about those toolboxes. Lowe's has those Cobalt ones. They look pretty nice to me for 20 bucks. So I don't know how much cheaper the Harbor Freight ones. I think somebody said they were $17.99, but then they also were going to have maybe $10 for the Insider Club on Black Friday or something like that. I don't know. I didn't see ads. I'm just going, that's what some other people said. So Ryan Dilworth says I have a SBLD as my go bag. Yeah, that's the one I'm using too. And it's kind of raining and I park my truck farther away, or I just go out there and get it. So in my SBLD, I've got my bigger snap-on pliers, the long nose Talon grips. Those are right smack in the middle. Basically, my SBLD loadout is very much the same, except for I've taken out a few tools. So if you go back and watch that video, but I've got those. I carry 7 1/4 Pliers wrench Cobras, the 8-inch twin grips. Those 3 pliers is, well, actually those 4 pliers is about all I need. I do carry wire strippers in mine just because I do a lot of electrical work. But if you don't do a lot of electrical work, you wouldn't necessarily need those. Then I carry my Impact 11-in-1, and then I carry a Vessel electric screwdriver with a bit holder in it so I can change it to whatever I want to. And then I also keep a small, I keep the Icon Flex ratchet in there just for a 1/4 inch ratchet, along with, I can put all my bits and stuff in that if I need to. Other than that, that's pretty much it on the hand tools that I carry inside of it. And then I've got a meter, non-contact voltage tester, flashlight. I'm trying to think I keep my Knipex end cutting pliers with that hammer end on it. That's kind of my hammer, but it's also a good nail puller. And then pencils and all that kind of stuff. I don't keep as much. I think I've got less stuff in it now than I did in my loadout because I kind of weeded out some stuff and moved stuff to my vest and moved stuff into my MP2X and stuff like that. But I like it though. I like the SPLD. It's probably my favorite small bag that I've got from Vito. I still would like a cover on it, but I'll deal with that. My HVAC life, happy turkey day, Morgan's Maintenance, you too. Picked up the Klein Pliers wrench, was not on display. They pulled it down off the rack for me. I have the Knipex, but these are good for the price and work just as well. Yeah, as far as functionality and all that stuff and the price point, they're pretty good. Like I said, they may not last very long. I have no idea on that yet. But for how they function to me, I mean, they're right on. And I really like I've got them out here somewhere, yeah. And I mean, like I said, I love this grip over the Icons. I mean, that's the whole reason why I never really bought the Icons. One was the price. Of course, these are supposed to be more expensive. They got them on sale right now. They're like $10 less than whatever they're going to be. So once you add $10 to it, then I'm like, man, I'm always the type where, that's the same thing I said about the Craftsman Pliers wrench when it first came out, which by the way, if any of y'all have these still at your Lowe's, whenever I did that walkthrough, mine still had 2 of them, and my buddy went in there and bought one, and they rang up for 11 bucks. So they're ringing up for $11 now. So if yours still has some of these and you didn't want to pay $24, if you go in there and check, it may ring up for 11 bucks. He ended up getting his for $11. So back when these first came out, they were 50 bucks, something like that. And I was just like, no, I'm not paying. I'd rather pay 10 more bucks or whatever and buy Knipex. You know, if the price range is that much, I'm just going to go ahead and buy. Now it's different to me if I'm saving 50% or whatever, and it's a tool I might not use all the time. That's one thing. But if I'm only going to save a few dollars, I'm just going to go ahead and spend more money. And that's the way I felt about the Icon when they came out. They were only a little bit cheaper. It wasn't like it was drastic. And I do not like the grips on the Icons. They're just way too fat. I think I might have a pair of, flush cuts. And these aren't even as bad, but this is the flush cuts. I used to keep these in my bag, but again, that's significantly, and some of you may really like that. I don't like comfort grips. I don't mind them, but I don't prefer them. But I mean, you look at the thickness sticking off the plier there between those two. I mean, that's huge to me. And I'm not a fan of that. Again, some people might really like it. I just don't. So I would buy these all day over the Icons personally. Oh, something else. This is what I was actually getting to and I forgot. So back I did the ratcheting T-handle set. I talked about, what did I do with that little piece? I talked about I was going to make it to where I could put my screwdriver in there. So the ratcheting screwdriver does fit. All you got to do is take out a little bit of this plastic here. I took out that piece of plastic. So then, like, if you want to make this like a driver box instead of just dedicated, because that's a lot of space to take up in my drawer in there for just a T-handle. So that way I can take this, and then maybe I want to take a socket set or do whatever. In fact, I took this in. I installed a barn door and some hardware the other day, and I took this in along with my 3/8 essential set snapped together, and it's the only 2 things I used, and it worked out pretty good. But you can fit a screwdriver handle in this if you just get rid of those bits, move them over to one side, do whatever you want to, and then shave out that little piece of plastic. It does shut. So that was one thing I was going to show. Captain 41, what's up, kid? I noticed today that the 10-inch and 7-inch adjustable channels are the same price on Klein adjustables. The Pliers wrench, yeah. You talking about these? Yeah, they've got them on sale right now. I didn't remember if they were the same price or not, but I didn't need any more 10-inch ones, so I didn't even look at the 10-inch ones. I've got 2 pairs of Knipex 10-inch, and then I've got those Craftsman ones, and I don't use them as much. And I mostly got these to try them, to see what I thought about them, and it's because I use these the most. And I wanted the different color handles just so that whenever I go to a bag or something where I've already got Cobras in them, I can know that this is more so in pouches. In bags, like I said, I put my tools like this in my bags, and I just grab it from the head like this, so it doesn't matter to me what my handles look like. But in my pouches, I always put them in head first, so it's nice in my pouch if I've got a different color handle. But yeah, the Klein ones are crazy cheap right now. I think the sale runs through, I want to say it said January something whenever I had it on the app. I had some pictures I put up, and it said something about through whatever. I want to say it said January, but it might even said December 3rd. I'm not sure. What's up, TPG? Plumbing said I wanted plumbing with, it's going to be hard for me to not say Pliers now, but it's plumbing with keys. I want to trade my SBLD for hopefully a TPLD. I've still got my TPLD. I've had it kept. The 2 bags I'm not using right now. I've got the TPLC, and I hadn't got rid of it yet just because it was my favorite little bag, and I didn't want to get rid of it until I knew I wasn't going to want it again. So I might end up selling this one. I've actually got it on Facebook if somebody wants to buy it, but it's one of those where I'm not going to sell it for cheap. It's like I'm either going to get something out of it or I'll keep it. But I do have the TPLD. I've had it. I bought it as the spring promotion for in case I couldn't live with the SBLD not having the flap. This was what I'm going to go with. And then it might be like during the winter time here in the next little bit, if the weather gets real nasty, I may decide I'm just going to move to this one when it's nasty and go to the SBLD when it's not. But the only reason why I'm even going to get rid of my TPLC is because I know I'd rather run this than the TPLC now. So that's why I'll probably go ahead and get rid of my TPLC, because if I do go to a covered bag like this, then I'm going to go ahead and I'll be going with the TPLD and not the TPLC. Mac Bergson, the M18 SDS is the way to go. Yeah, I think so for the price. I mean, if the M12, like I said, was in a total different ballpark of price-wise, and that's another thing. But it's like if I'm going to buy one specifically just for chipping, the M18 is going to perform better anyways. And if you're going to give me an 8 amp hour Forge battery with it in that same price point, I'd be crazy to not buy the M18 one and buy the M12. But like I said, I feel like they're just pricing the M12 one a little bit too high. But that's the price that it is online right now, as they're not selling it. It might be something totally different once they start selling it. Morgan's made it's going to be cooking forever at this point. I'm going to need new pants. Yeah, I am going to have to. I'm going to hit it. I have been getting a little chubby. I'll be honest with you. I've been eating way too much sweet stuff. I'm going to have to do something about that. But I always go in spurts. But y'all will probably notice it more now because I do more videos where you see me instead of just where you don't. But I can lose weight really fast and I can gain weight really fast. I go back and forth all the time. I'm getting a little bit chubby though. I'm going to have to do something. Do you use multi-bit screwdrivers all the time versus regular screwdrivers? I'm trying to light my bag up. Not sure if I would use it. I'm old school. That's the only time where I use them is I put them in my go bags, tool bags, where I'm carrying whatever that is, or if I'm putting one in my pocket or whatever even. But if I'm going into something like a service call and I don't know what it is, then I carry that because it's such a space savings. Like what you just said, I mean, if you carried every screwdriver with you, your whole bag's full of screwdrivers. But whenever I'm working, like if I'm working, so like if I know I'm doing electrical work or I'm installing light fixtures, I know all I'm going to need is a Phillips and a slotted and maybe a whatever else, then I put those in my pouch because I'd rather use dedicated screwdrivers. It's so much faster for me to, I probably got some out here surely. I don't know if I got any, let's see, yeah. Which this isn't the best example because I got bit holders and stuff in this, but and a Malco. So this has nothing in it like what I was going to show you, but same principle. Like, it's faster for me to take my pouch and just swap screwdrivers in and out like this, like one, put one in, grab another one out, than it is to be like, okay, well, this is my slotted, so that means my Phillips is on the other side. Oh, well, not on this screwdriver. That was my other one. This one's a double Phillips, or I need to flip it, and then it's on the other half of this. You know, if I'm going to do a lot of swapping back and forth, it's so much faster to just use screwdrivers for me in a pouch, and that's what I do. I just use dedicated. But in a bag where I'm going into the unknown, where I don't know what screwdrivers I'm going to need, an 11-1 is pretty useful just because it only takes up one spot in your bag instead of you having to carry 6 different screwdrivers and taking up all your slots. So I don't use one all the time, but I use one pretty often. Baco, Milwaukee, Fujiya, Lobster, can't lose. What adjustable wrench do you use? I have the Baco. That's what I'm running right now, is the Baco. The Bacos and the Milwaukee ones that are, I don't have, all my Bacos are in my truck, but these Milwaukee ones are not bad. These are the best box store ones I've ever used. The amount of movement you get right here, there's not a lot of slop in it. So like once you tighten it to whatever you want to tighten it to, you don't have to sit there and keep adjusting it every time. So as far as if you walk into a Lowe's or Home Depot and you're going to buy an adjustable wrench, these are the best ones I've used. Now the Bacos, I like the channel lock, the big AZZs. Those are pretty good. I've used those. But if you haven't tried a Pliers wrench, I don't use an adjustable wrench near as much as I used to, but they still have their place. But you know, these Pliers wrenches are the way to go, in my opinion, for a lot of the times that you normally use an adjustable wrench. This is pretty nice. The only time an adjustable wrench is better, in my opinion, is like holding back and stuff like that, because you don't have to, you know, keep your grip tightened up while you're doing it. That's all held in place, so you're not holding this together. But as far as being able to really get on and off fast, these beat an adjustable wrench, in my opinion. But there's still a place for adjustable wrench. I don't think those replace it. I think it's a total different tool, but they're both similar. Man, I got a long way to catch up. What state are you from? Kentucky. Ace Vent Fitter. What's up? First time commenter on your lives. Hope I haven't missed much. I don't know how long we've been. We've been on here 52 minutes already. Greetings from Poland. Dawood P said, those Fluke Twist silicone leads are on Black Friday for Amazon for 30 bucks, and those are nice. If y'all don't, I might have a set of them out here. I don't even hardly use any other leads. These I've got 3 sets of these, but the Fluke twist leads right there, so you don't have to sit there and put caps on them or anything. You just twist that up and it kind of protects them. Plus then you've also got like the pinpoint, so if you need to stick it in somewhere and you don't want to touch something on the side. And more than anything, I mean, that part of it's nice. That's fantastic, all that. It's this right here, night and day, and just coiling them up and wadding them up, fitting in your bag. I mean, they're so much more flexible. Worth 30 bucks for sure. If you use a meter with test leads all the time, that $30 upgrade that you'll have for many, many years, you're going to be so glad you did it. And the guess the trade you mentioned, the Joker wrenches, my advice is skip them. I love Vera, but those didn't work for me. Maybe I'm just too uncoordinated, but I didn't like them. I never have wanted to get them just because, like, you buy one wrench that only does like 3 sizes, and it's as expensive as a Knipex Pliers wrench like this that you can do. And again, I know they work a little bit different, but it's just crazy to me to spend that much money for a few sizes and then have to carry multiple of them for those sizes. Is the Ace Vent Fitter, are you the one that did a video the other day with your wife guessing how much the tools were and all that stuff? It seems like that's familiar to me, but I watched it, but I was thinking that might be what your name was. I'm not sure. I watched it on my TV, so I didn't comment on it, but I watched it. TPG, I got one of the Cobalt Mini boxes. It's good for excess tools. Jonathan Harris, the Harbor Freight Mini Toolbox top lifts open. I think the Cobalt one does too, I think. I think it's got a top that opens too. I'm not sure, but I think that it does. Max says he's got 4 of the Harbor Freight ones for gifts. They're much nicer than the Cobalt. They have ball bearing slides and are a nicer metal, and they also don't have Cobalt real big across the front of it. That's the only thing I didn't like about the Cobalt ones. If they didn't have that across the front, I probably got one to put on my workbench. But what's the multimeter that you use? This one's just that one I've had forever. That's a 77. That's a really old one. I've had that for a really long time. I use a Fluke 324 or the Fluke T6 1000 Pro. I've got a video for the 1000 Pro. It's totally different than most of them. It's got field sense technology and all that stuff. Only thing it doesn't have that I need is capacitance, and then my 324 has that, and my 324 has a temperature probe too, but I don't really ever use that much. I do use capacitance on it though. So 324 is probably the most versatile one that I have, but the T6 1000 Pro is the one I use the most right now. Wings and Pizza said happy Thanksgiving. You too, buddy. Let's see, I missed some. Let's see. Can you recommend some of the best boxes for bits and drills? Well, I'm using Packout with some Etsy 3D printed stuff. As far as you want to go to the box store and buy something, I always really liked these DeWalt boxes. I've got a video how to organize your drill bits or whatever that I go through a lot of things, and these right here were my favorite ones up until right now. I'm using Packout with some 3D printed stuff in it in my truck, but those are the best. Those were the best, like just individual boxes at the time. Now Milwaukee has recently come out with some new bit cases where it's easier to get the bits in and out. That's why I never liked the Milwaukees, because it was horrible to get your bits in and out, but they're a little bit better now. A lot of those aren't really a lot different from one another. The clear top on the DeWalt's why I like those when those came out, but Milwaukee has some now that has a clear top where you can see in them, because that's pretty important really, to be able to see, especially if you're going to carry multiple boxes. It saves you a lot of time of opening and closing something to see what's in it. But I've got a video that I want to say it's called how do you organize your drill bits, tool bags, something or other, shop. I like my T6 1000 Pro, even a T5 if you're broke. Darren Campbell, did you end up snagging the new 10-in-1? No, I didn't, because I've got all the, that's like a lot of these things. People keep asking me to get that complete Connect set. I've got every single piece that's in that set. I've already got all of them. I mean, it's $150. I don't really feel like wasting $150. And that's like the 10-in-1. If I didn't already have, like the Impact Ration one is Connect S. Everybody bought this a long time ago to work with their first 1/4-inch set. I think I might have that one in here actually, yeah. I don't know what I did with that actually now that I say that. It's a good question. I don't know what I did with that set. I've got the original 1/4-inch set, but I know I don't keep it in my truck, but I don't remember what it, oh, no, I never remember. I remember now. So like everybody bought this set, and then they were looking for a screwdriver to work with it. Well, then the ratcheted Impact 11-1 worked with it, so that's what everybody was getting. Well, now the starter kit set, if I didn't have this, I would think about getting the 10-in-1 just so you'd have a screwdriver that worked with your 1/4-inch stuff. But basically, it's got that same, you know, this has got the Connect S in it too. So I've already got a screwdriver handle that works with it. Other than that, it's basically the same. I've got the Impact flip sockets. I've got, you know, the Impact 11-in-1 stuff. I've got all those pieces. So I basically can make that screwdriver with what I've got here. I could make 4 of them probably. So there's no point in me buying it. There's really nothing else special about it. So I probably won't get it. It keeps scrolling down on me. Kiltronics, let's see. I'm curious if the flip socket side actually fits in the handle. It should, because it's going to be, I can show you that. Let's see what I do with those. Because it should be pretty similar to one of these. Of course, it's a different size, but it's basically one of these kind of flip sockets. So let me see. I don't know if this shaft's long enough here. So that's going to probably go. And what I do with the ratchet in 11 and 1. So here's the ratchet and 11 and 1 piece, and here's one of those with that flip socket on there, and that fits inside there. So it should be very similar to that. Like I said, I've already got all those, so I don't need that 10 and 1. I've already got that. I've already got those sockets, so but that should fit in there. I like the thinner grips myself, but my wore out hands need the thicker grips. Yeah, I'm always fitting into tight spots, so I like my hand to be able to be as small as possible, I guess, for whatever reason. And I've always used dip grip tools for so long. I've been doing it for so long, back before they had any kind of this comfort stuff, that's just what I'm used to using. It's Matt's fault as always. I'm the blame guy. Something. I hate the Cobalt one. I got all the pit ones to snap on. Let's see. My Lowe's has very little for Black Friday as far as tools. Yeah, mine don't have that much out either. Best deals at Lowe's and at Lowe's is the ladders. Like you can get it. Of course, you can't really. The weight limit's not that high on them, so they're more of a homeowner ladder. But I mean, an 8-foot one for $69, and then a 6-foot one's like $69, and I think maybe they got a 4-foot one for $49. But they always have good deals on the 4-foot ones every year. But the 8-foot one for $69, that's a pretty good deal. Every day we play the game Whose Fault It Is Today, and the day revolves around to a new person daily. Tools and tactics, beware, there's forged wire strippers, lovers here. Yeah, that's right. That's my #1 stripper. If they get up on that stage and they are Knipex forged wire strippers, they are my favorite stripper. TPG says, I use the TPLC for camper tools. It won't dump contents if it gets knocked over. Yeah, I haven't got rid of it yet because, like I said, that was my favorite small Vito bag whenever I got it, compared to I started out with the TPXL. I didn't like it at all. I like my TP4B, but I wanted one with a cover, and that was the first one that came out with the cover that I was like, yeah, I actually like that. So I haven't got rid of it yet. The DeWalt 12-volt, when it's on sale, SDS is a good size. I'm curious about, me and Matt's been talking about that Bosch Flexi Click ever since the trade where somebody had it, and they've got one of them that's got that little SDS attachment head on it, and I don't know how that works, because it's like you're putting it on I guess maybe the mechanism's all inside that attachment, I guess. I don't know. I'm curious if that little thing works very well. So they got basically the head changes like the Milwaukee installation driver. Again, I used to have the Bosch Flexi Click, a brush version, and it wasn't very powerful, but now they sell one that's brushless, and they got a rotary hammer head that you put on the SDS Plus. I'm pretty curious how that works. Let's see. You can tell how new a Milwaukee tool is selling by how soon it goes on deal. The new high torque took a while, but I don't expect to see the new stubby for a while. TPG, I think that's a good reason to prefer the bits and the handle rather than having to flip the shaft parts around. Yeah, the flipping around the stuff, like I said, I wouldn't want to use an 11 and 1 as my everyday. Like, if I'm actually doing work where I'm going to swap back and forth between Phillips and slotted all day long doing something, like, I ain't using an 11 and 1. I'm using a Phillips and slotted screwdriver. It's a lot more time consuming than what. But again, if you're just 90% of the time you're going to use Phillips, and you're doing some job where, oh, now I'm running into a slotted, this one screw, it's worth it to have one of those, again, just as a space saver. I only swap Japanese 13mm double extended bits. Milwaukee has a 3-pack set of double extended that's serviceable. Matt HMM said, taking the family out for dinner. Have a happy and safe Thanksgiving, everyone. Appreciate that, Mac. You too, buddy. Cass Gill, hey Morgan, have you discussed which pliers wrench you prefer between the Craftsman V or the Klein? I'm looking to buy my first pair for my HVAC bag. I prefer the functionality of the Klein just because it's the same as the Knipex. Like it works the same, and I love the Knipex. That's what I've been using. And you can get it in a 7-inch size, which I use the most. I think the Craftsman only comes in 10. That's a bit big for me for what I do, but again, you may run into 10 more often. But I did say a little while back, like if your Lowe's still has these, they were on sale for 24 bucks when I bought them. My buddy just went in there yesterday and bought one of the last pairs that were there, and it rang up as 11. It might have been 11.99, so it might have been 12 bucks, but it was $11 and something. So if yours still has them, I'd take them to the cash register and ring them up, see if it rings up for 11 bucks. 11 bucks, you can't beat that for a 10-inch pair. I mean, again, even if they're not as good as Knipex, still it's 11 bucks for a 10-inch pliers wrench. Pretty good deal. Anybody seen that light blink over yet? I haven't seen it blink. I'm gonna see how many bars is on it. Still on 2 bars. That's what it was on whenever I turned it on. Matt said, "Don't get the Cobalt pliers wrench." LOL. Yeah, he said he bought that and it didn't last no time. That's him in the video you're talking about when he tagged you. Yeah, I was thinking that name looked familiar to me. Like I said, I watched it on my TV, and I don't ever comment on videos if I watch it on my TV because I don't even know how you go about doing it. And that's where I watch YouTube 90% of the time. Plumbing with Keys, your Joker wrenches were sure more of a passion buy for me. I like them in very specific situations, but for sure not up to par with the Pliers wrench. And TPG said the lid on the Cobalt box does lift up. And then Jonathan Harris said it doesn't open up from the top. So one of you's wrong. I think on the picture it showed it open. I'm pretty sure it did. Matt Ellis, what's your opinion on using a 1/4-inch hex-inch drill bits in your impact driver? I do it all the time, especially in metal. I feel like it works better in metal than even using a drill bit sometimes. Like if I've ever drilled into like angle iron type stuff, sometimes I have a hard time getting through it with a drill bit and a drill, unless you just get the speed and stuff set right. But the impact bits seem like they go through it a little bit easier, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, I do it all the time with those new bits. It's got the 1/4-inch end on it. I think in wood sometimes it gets a little bit weird, but this depends on how much precision I guess you need and how important the hole is and the location of it, but I don't have any problem using them. I use them all the time. TPG said he checked his and it does. And then Jamie said the Cobalt Mini lid lifts up. And then Jonathan Harris said, okay, thanks, my bad. So y'all got it straightened out eventually. I was pretty sure on the picture, I thought I saw that it had a lid. Like I said, they're in a box to where you can't look at them like and slide out the drawers or anything like that. But I was thinking that it did. But I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't know. Killtronics just bought the Diablo drill bit set that is in a mug style bit container. I haven't bought a lot of, I've bought so many Milwaukee drill bits, Milwaukee everything. Whenever they're on, I can't tell you how many oscillating tool blades I even have. But like the drill bit cases like this, you know, these are the ones that are a nightmare to get them out, to kill yourself with. But they ran these on sale, and I'm glad I bought a bunch of them because they went up in price a lot. But these even have the 1/2 inch. Like most of the time, they don't even have the 1/2 inch in them anymore. But I bought like, I bet I've got 6, 7 sets of these, and I just use them to refill one box or whatever whenever I'm using them. Because whenever I catch stuff like that on sale, I go ahead and buy them. If it's a consumable that I know I'm going to use, although I end up typically buying more than I probably will ever use, I don't pay attention to it enough, I guess. But I've got so many of those that I haven't bought. That's like I'd like to try some of those Diablo oscillating tool blades because I hear they're pretty good, but I haven't bought any because I got so many Milwaukee ones. Let me check my, let's see. Concerned that Klein is selling out somewhat with the mass infusion of products they are putting on Lowe's. What's your thoughts? Seeing Dream One. Yeah, I said that before. It's like I don't mind like certain things, but at the same time, like sawhorses, even a lot of them plumbing tools, to be honest with you, because what's going to happen is somebody's going to go buy a Klein. Like me, if I was Klein, I wouldn't want somebody going and buying a PVC tubing cutter or something or other that I just threw my name on. It's a tool that is got 15 other people's names on. That's made in China. It might be a piece of junk for all you know. Might not only might last one time using it, and then they go and use that. That's the very first Klein tool that somebody buys, and then they use it and they think, and it falls apart on them. It does whatever, and they're like, "Well, Klein's a piece of crap. You know, I don't want to buy any Klein tools." And they're never going to go buy a pair of Klein Lymans or a pair of diagonals or whatever else because they had a bad experience with a sawhorse or whatever. So as long as they keep making the tools, most of the tools that I'm going to buy from them are going to be the ones that they've been making for quite some time. But I think it might end up being a problem for them in the big scheme of things. But at the same time, that's like a lot of people didn't like that these weren't made in the USA. I mean, that was a comment on the short like crazy that I made for them, and then also on the regular video. And I get that all the time. And I get, like, I'm okay with, I want to buy made in the USA stuff just to support the country that I live in and support workers in the country that I live in and all that kind of stuff. But I've said this before in chats. I've said it on Tools and Tactics Lives, talking back and forth with Apache. It's like, how many places have y'all went into in the last 3-4 years, and the employees working at that place, you felt like, yeah, these people are really good workers. These people are fantastic workers, or even subs and stuff that maybe you've got on your jobs. It's like, so if a company wants to make something in the USA, I don't believe that made in the USA would necessarily mean to me like top quality like it used to. Now, I can get it that you want to buy made in the USA to support the workers in your country and all that kind of stuff, But my guess is the factory workers at a USA plant and wherever that Klein is going to be making, you've probably seen some of the employees that you've seen working at places. I can't imagine they're going to be putting out a top quality product. I just don't see it. So I'm a little leery of even made in the USA tools, to be honest with you. I'm sure you can buy some made in the USA junk, and you can probably also buy some made in China really good tools. But again, I get the aspect of it. I'm not saying that if you're saying I don't want to buy from China because of their government, whatever else, I want to buy from USA because that's where I live. I understand that. But if you're talking solely on the quality of tools, I don't know that made in the USA is quite what it used to be, just based on everything else that's made in the USA. But yeah, I'm a little concerned about how much stuff they're putting their name on. I've made mention of that a bunch of times. We'll have to see how it all goes. Morgan Maintenance would have a Klein sponsored wedding if he could. Matt Ellis, I saw your YouTube short on the Klein pin multi-bit screwdriver. I got so tempted I almost bought it even without thinking about it, LOL. Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about that one at the very beginning of this video. Watched 3 videos this morning and you easily helped me make a few purchases, Tinker with Tools said. Killtronics, I'm laser poor. He said ladder poor. I've got, that's one of the things that's kind of like the flashlights. I kind of made a joke about whenever I bought that flashlight right there that, I had the thing at the beginning about your wife being like, you didn't need that. Every time I ever mention a ladder, because I've got a building back in the back that I bet I've got 15 ladders back there of different sizes and different heights and stuff like that. But I've got some that are job specific. Like if I'm doing drywall mud and painting and stuff like that, I've got ladders that I take to those jobs because then I don't have to worry about getting whatever on them. And then I've got some that's like go in somebody's house in a finished house type thing and put up some big fancy light or whatever. So that's why I've got so many of them. What is the light you got there? Killtron said that's the M18, the newer Rover. a lot like the top off type shape. I've got a video for it, but it's the M18 service rover light, kind of like the M12. Let's see how many bars we got. Still on 2. I don't know if we're going to get to the blink. That was the lowest battery I had, so I should have probably ran it in my leaf blower or something for a little while. I got the Cobalt tool pack, 0 issues with the little plier wrench. Chicken fried steak said, I'm watching YouTube on my TV and commenting on the video on the iPad. Matt said I dented my jaws with the brass toilet bolts, not steel, LOL. He's talking about the Cobalt. Let's see. Vegan cookies, your most drill sets only up to 3/8. I noticed, yeah, like Milwaukee quit putting those 1/2 inch ones in their sets. Again, they used to always, matter of fact, I don't know, they used to have, whenever they put them on sale, it would always make a big deal that it had the 1/2 inch bit included, because whenever I was buying those, I'd find them on sale. They were basically the same price as if you just went and bought that 1/2 inch bit. And I use those 1/2 inch bits all the time for toggle bolts and stuff like that. So it was like a no brainer for me to buy those. And I've got a bunch of them that's got that 1/2 inch bit in it. Diablo carbide oscillating tool blades are all I buy. 15 a pop, but they last a week or two, even cutting screws. My HVAC life says, sounds like it's time for a Harbor Freight versus Cobalt mini toolbox review. Yeah, I would go and buy a Cobalt one, but I don't know if I'm gonna go buy a Harbor Freight one just because I'm not a like you couldn't pay me enough money. I actually did it one year. I went with my brother-in-law one year to go get a TV on Black Friday because I'm not a, like you put me in a big group of people like where you're like this and stuff, I can't stand that stuff anymore. Like it bugs me to death because people are just people. It gets a little bit too peoply. I don't like it. But I had to go wait in line at Walmart in the grocery section, waiting in line to get a ticket to get my TV. And then after I got the ticket, I had to wait in line to buy the TV. And then after I bought the TV, I had to go get my car and wait in the line to pick up the TV. And I think when it was all said and done, I think I spent about 7 hours getting this TV. And I told him, I was like, I'll never do this again, because I could have went and worked for 7 hours and bought any TV I wanted to in here in the same amount of time that I wasted here, and not bought this one that's not even really a good TV. It was just super cheap. So I don't do I don't go out on the Black Friday and do the shopping and all that stuff. So, and I'm sure Harbor Freight would be sold out of them if you don't go get one on Black Friday. Let's see. TPG said the Cobalt box doesn't slide all that easily. Tumbleweed, sorry I'm late. How do you like the new Kleins? So far they've been pretty good. Like I said, I haven't used them. I've only had them for a little bit of time. I did swap this one out with my Pliers wrench, so I've used it a couple times this week just to use it, and I've had no problem with them. I mean, they perform to me functional wise just like the Knipex does. It's a matter of will they last as long, that kind of stuff. Time will only tell on that. RRTO8, I have 4 Cobalt top and bottom mini boxes, work just fine. Seeing Dream said that his Craftsman V-Series pliers wrench was also 12 bucks. Yeah, like I said, my buddy went in there, I think it was yesterday, and bought the last pair of them, because there was 3 pairs whenever I bought mine. I only bought one of them at $24, but he went in there the other day and he said they rang up, which they weren't showing that they were on sale for $12. He went in there to get them for the $24, but whenever he got up there and rang them up, they rang up for, I guess it was $11.99, $12. I remember, I could remember it was 11 something. I just couldn't remember what the change was. Abraham Perez says Miss Maintenance might have something to say about that wedding if Joey goes out and gets married again without her. Matt says I have 2 pretty ladders, the same as you. No one likes a nasty ladder in their house, and life is peoply. That it is. Tumbleweed says, thank you, I'm a Klein guy, so I picked them up too. I mean, for the price, I mean, like I said, you're looking at 24 bucks versus 60 bucks. I mean, you can't hardly beat that. And like I said, it works exactly the same. Like there's no, even like you can swap back and forth from them, and it feels like the same pushing in the button and everything. So I feel like it's a pretty good deal. Like I said, I think they're $10 cheaper right now than what they're going to be. So like you add $10 to it and you get up to 34 versus 50. So you're like, well, for 15 more bucks, I could get Knipex. Then you might make a decision with that. But I think at half the price, it's a no-brainer. What is the difference in the Klein Pliers wrench red and yellow handles? Just size. The yellow handled Pliers wrench, I think the only one they've got in the yellow handle, and I could be wrong about this, I think is that one, as far as a Pliers wrench, is the one that has the reversible jaw. Now they've got red handled channel locks, or that's what I call them, pump pliers, whatever I call them, channel locks, like these. And I've only seen in my Lowe's, they only have the yellow in the alligator style. Like I've never seen them, but they do sell them in this push button. I've seen them online now, but I've never seen them in person. Somebody told me that the yellow handled ones were made in, I want to say Germany. I don't know that though. But somebody also commented on the video the other day with these and said they bought the 10-inch and it said made in Taiwan on the 10-inch of these. But whenever I was in the store today, I looked at the back of the 10-inch ones just because I was curious because they said that. And mine said made in China, just like what these did. So maybe the yellow ones are made in Taiwan, and maybe he had the yellow ones, and maybe I just wasn't understanding him right. But tumbleweed, I know, can't beat it. Yeah, the price. VCG said, you traveling this holiday? I'm staying in town this time. Now everybody's coming to me. I've got people Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so everybody's coming to me. Elliot Parrish, I'm late to the chat, but I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving. You too, buddy. Last Best Tool, Doc said he just picked up one of the V-Series Pliers wrench. Not impressed even for the $12 I paid. It's different. I mean, it's not bad, but it's different than the Knipex. It's not the same. I kept having a lot of people whenever I made a short a long time ago, whenever I first noticed these in my Lowe's. I don't remember how long ago it was, but it seems like it's a pretty long time ago. Because like I said, I even want to say, because it says the regular price on these right now is $49. And I want to say it was like $58 or $54 or something back when I made that short. And I said then, but of course I couldn't, the way that these were packaged, you couldn't really use them unless you wanted to cut open a package in the store, which I don't do. But to see how it even worked and stuff like that. So I said then, I was like, there's no way I'm paying close to the same price as Knipex for something that I've never, A, I don't know anything about, and B, it's just like Knipex is Knipex. Everything I've used from them has been good, so if I'm not going to, somebody has to entice me at that point to say, oh, we've got the same thing or something similar. It has to be at least like a pretty good chunk off like the Klein. I mean, theirs is really similar and it's half the price, so I can see that being tempting to me to say, I'm going to give this a shot and I'm going to try it. So I was still even iffy whenever I saw these for $24.99, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get them and see. And they're definitely not Knipex in my opinion, but many people in that short, they were mad that I was saying I wouldn't buy these for $54 because, oh, those are superior to the Knipex. They're the Falcom or whatever, and they're better, and I don't see it, but maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but now that you've said that, it makes me feel better. Maybe my impressions was right. I thought maybe I was crazy, so I'm glad to hear you say that, Doc. Yellow D53110, some made in Germany and some made in Mexico. Chicken Fried Steak said, I've never bought any of the yellow Klein Pliers. I wouldn't have never even thought, only reason why I bought these, I wouldn't even have bought these just because the Knipex Cobras are something else. And I tell y'all that all the time, like, I won't even buy another pair. But I bought these because they were 12-inch, and I don't have 12-inch Cobras, and I don't use 12-inch that much. So it wasn't worth it to me to buy a pair of 12-inch Cobras for the few times I'm going to need these. And I thought, well, I'll go ahead and get these and give them a try. And usually whenever I'm using it for 12-inch, it's not for anything that's like crazy. I just need something to wrap around something that's pretty wide. And worst case scenario, I've got the Knipex, the quick adjust, like Swedish pipe wrench. And to me, what that is a really big Cobra. So if I can't do it with that, then I'll get that out. I would call that more of a big Cobra than a Pliers wrench even. Oh, come on, turn back, chat. Wish my local Lowe's had Craftsman V Series. See some show shelf space. Mine never had that. Ace Hardware did in store. I was curious, Doc, if because the Pliers wrench didn't have a $12 tag on them. That's just what they rang up for. So I was curious if those ratchets, because they did drop the price on all the. Mine's got some socket sets down there, like in a box. They're all like deep well sockets, SAE, metric, all that kind of stuff I didn't need. But they've dropped those all down to like 11, 12 bucks a set of those. But I didn't need any of those. But all the ratchets were still the same price, like the one that you picked up at the Flex Head. But I was curious if you took them up there, if they'd ring up cheaper too. But I wasn't going to try it. But I can't find any made in Germany local. Only seen them online, YouTube, etc. My local ones are Mexico. Matt doesn't have any V series. All three local Lowe's. Matt L said I had the Knipex wire strippers when I worked in maintenance. I run them by cutting some live wires. What's your opinion on the Milwaukee ones? Not a big Klein Tools fan. Yeah, the Milwaukee strippers, is that what you said? Yeah, they're pretty good. They're the ones I used before I bought the Knipex. And for the price, because you can end up buying like 3 sets of the Milwaukee ones over the course of time for the price of one Knipex. And if you only do Romex wire, like NM wire, and not MC cable, that's the reason why I like the Knipex so much. The stripper part and all that kind of stuff. The big difference for the forged wire strippers is if you cut a lot of the screws, like if you always are cutting screws to different lengths and stuff like that, the Knipex is night and day above the rest of them because you don't have to thread them in. And then the opening factor. So like to get around MC cable, my Knipex goes around them. They're about the only pair of strippers I've ever used with the cutter that will do that. The Milwaukee ones, you can't really do that. But if you're just doing Romex, the Milwaukee ones are great. For the price, they're pretty hard to beat. Craftsman's much heavier than the Knipex, and the flat back of the handle hurts my hand. I had somebody, Doc, mention he said that this right here, he was putting a lot, because I was a little curious about that myself too. He said he was putting a lot of torque on something. I don't remember what it was he said. And he said, and this whole thing slipped and basically sheared off and made a flat spot on a section of his. So he can't even really use that section anymore. So he said I wouldn't use them on anything like crazy high, like where you're really just hammering on something type thing. So they're going to be my house pair of pliers wrenches is what they are. So I'm not going to be using them in the field. I thought I'd buy them and give them a shot. I was more than anything curious about them because, like I said, they weren't set up in a way where you could really test them in the store without getting them out of the package. So you almost had to buy them just to even see if you wanted to, if you even liked them at all. Be gentle on the Milwaukee 6-in-1. My guys murdered 6 to 8 pairs before we went forwards, never went back. I will say that about the Knipex. Like, I normally would go through a couple pairs of wire stripper at least a year, and I'm not even a full-time like electrician or anything like that. I do a lot of electrical work, but I'm not an electrician. And I would probably at least go through 2 to 3 pairs sometimes and have to get some just because the stuff got dull or whatever. And I've been running the same pair of Knipex forged wire strippers. Now, I do have 2 different pairs, so they might get a little bit of use one or the other, but 99% of the time I'm using my dip grip ones. And I've been using them for a couple of years now, and they're still just like the day I bought them, like stripping wire, cutting wire, whatever else. So they might be more expensive up front, but you're probably actually getting the use out of them to where it's the same price as the Milwaukee. You're just keeping that same pair longer, which is really a good thing in all honesty. The longer you can keep a tool, the more your hands used to use, especially like a stripper or something like that, to where it's muscle memory using that same tool versus if you go get a new one, you've got to retrain, what hole is 12 gauge, what hole is 14 gauge, you got to remember all that stuff again. You got to relearn all that. So if you can keep a tool longer, it's also more efficient and you're getting more bang for your buck with it. David Baez, very informative. Love your videos. Appreciate that, buddy. Project Pine Hills in here. Let's see. Menards had Knipex line in store, but now moving them out for store brand performance tools. Yeah, mine has very little Knipex. They've kind of got what Lowe's used to have. Lowe's used to have some Knipex in my Lowe's, and they've gotten rid of all it. But they had like the lineman pliers, some diagonals, maybe a needle nose pair or two, and my Menards still has them. The only good thing about Menards, if your Menards has them, is you get that 11% rebate, which you have to spend that in the store, but you could turn around and buy that gift card, use that gift card for more Knipex stuff until you built up your deal. So you can get 11% off, and sometimes their price is the same as what they are everywhere else, so that's a pretty good deal. The flex head was about $10 now, half of what I paid, which was less than half of retail. See, I was curious about that. I almost took it up there today to get it, but I don't really want it. If it was a longer one, then that's why I didn't buy it the first time. Like even before you made your video, I had thought about buying it, and then I watched your video and it's like, man, I'm glad I didn't buy that. But it's a little bit like I've got plenty of other, different wrenches and stuff like that. I want to get me a 3/8 flex head, but I kind of want one in that. I don't want one super long, but I don't want one short either, like probably like 9-inch or 11-inch maybe, or something like that. I've got plenty of 1/4-inch different flex ways to get into stuff, but I need to get myself a 3/8 ratchet to put in my truck so that if I run into something weird. The Cobras are pretty superior to everything else. They can do things no other pliers can. I bought the Klein yellow handle alligator clone that are USA made. They look and feel strong. Yeah, ever since I've been using the Cobra, I don't even buy another. It's pretty hard for me. The only reason why I buy one would be if because y'all are interested in it and I'll make a video about it, and because I like trying tools. I mean, I'm a tool addict. I'll buy tools just to buy them. It's the same. That's the whole reason why I bought this. I didn't really need this, didn't really necessarily want it. I was just curious about it. So I had seen it in the store. It wouldn't let me work with it in the package. They put it at a price where I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to try it. Might not ever use it that much, but we'll see. And again, it's going to be my house pliers wrench just to save me from having to go get in my truck to get out my Knipex one maybe if I need to. But at a $12, it's a pretty good price probably at $12. Again, I don't think I'm talking about in comparison to buying a Knipex one. Now again, there might be some other one that's around $12 that might be just as good. But if I was somebody who didn't use it very often, didn't want to spend $60, $70, $80 on a pliers wrench, then if you're just going to use it once in a blue moon or whatever, then it might be worth getting for $12 for sure. The pivot point got screwed up. He's talking about his Milwaukee's. Matt is. He's answering somebody else. What do you think of the quick adjust S-jaw pipe wrench? I don't have the Klein one. I looked at it in the store today because I was curious, but again, it's in a package where you can't really make it work until you take it out of the package. I don't like it whenever they package stuff like that, but the Knipex one is fantastic. Like I probably would use it over. It's not a pipe wrench. So it's the same thing I kind of talked about with the adjustable wrench and a Klein and a Knipex pliers wrench. They're two different tools. There's still a use for both of them. So like a pliers wrench doesn't make it to where you no longer need an adjustable wrench. There's a lot of situations where you'd rather use the pliers wrench over the adjustable wrench, but again, I feel like there's still a place for both those tools. And it's kind of the same thing with a pipe wrench and one of those, S pipe wrenches, Swedish pipe wrenches, whatever. To me, what that Swedish pipe wrench is from Knipex that I have, and it looks just like that Klein one, so I'm sure it's pretty similar. It's basically like a really big, beefy Cobra, in my opinion. But you can grab onto pipes and stuff with it, but it's still a little different teeth. The head's different as far as the way it wraps around something. There's still going to be times, in my opinion, where you're going to want just a pipe wrench. And also the same thing I kind of said about the adjustable wrench, and I don't remember, I got a Milwaukee one in here. I remember I had one somewhere. There are times where, I don't want to have to hold my hands together and put force on something, whether I'm holding back or doing whatever, versus I can just slide this on and I don't have to do anything with this. I just have to push my hand against it or do whatever. So there's certain situations where a regular pipe wrench versus not having like this kind of stuff, is going to be a situation that you're going to want, whether you want to put a cheater pipe on it or, you know, whatever else. So I think the Klein one looked like it was pretty good in my opinion. Price-wise, it was significantly cheaper than the Knipex, but again, I've got a Knipex one, so I didn't buy the Klein one because I don't need two of those. That's not something I'm ever going to need two of for the most part. I'm an electrician, and I can say the Milwaukee strippers strip great, but they don't last. Yeah, it's like I said, they're good, but you're going to go through several pairs a year. So if you are I can't afford, you know, 60 bucks up front, and I got 20 bucks to spend on strippers. I say that as if make sure it's not dollar bills, but then go get the Milwaukee ones. If that's what you got, they're pretty good. For 20 bucks, they're pretty good. But if you can afford to spend 60 bucks, I'd buy the forged wire strippers. No matter what Tools and Tactics says, I'm gonna tell you to buy the forged wire strippers. I don't even know I think he uses the Milwaukee. I think that's the ones he praises the most. I don't know if he uses anything else, Matt. You can probably let me know, but I've only seen him using the Milwaukee one, so. Agreed, I'm a tool addict, and when they're on sale, you got to take advantage, LOL. Exactly, if forged wire strippers had a needle nose on them, they'd be perfect. Yeah, these are actually my preferred ones right here. I think I got them in here, yeah. The electrical installation pliers are the ones I actually like using the most, but they're only 12 and 14, so I don't carry these in my bag. But if I'm doing electrical work where I'm only doing 12 and 14, then these are in my pouch and not my forged wire strippers because I like how small these are. But again, look at that. And then I don't think I got any Milwaukee ones in here. I keep the Milwaukee ones in my house bag, I believe, but I probably got some Klein ones in here that's pretty similar. These are Klein, but it's similar to the Milwaukee. But, you know, look at how much those open. I mean, that's max. That's as much as that's going to open. Versus, I mean, I can wrap that around MC cable or whatever else I want to all day long, and I mean, it cuts like crazy. Or, I mean, somebody messes with you pretty good, they can't put my finger through this thing. But somebody does something to me, I mean, you need some information, you need whatever. These are going to work for you. But yeah, I like the thinness of those better than the forged wire strippers, like what he said. He'd like to have some with needle nose. Fanatic bought the 13-in-1 today. Yeah, my Lowe's put them out. Like, I went through an ordeal with them to try to get them because my Lowe's said they had 4 of them. And I looked for them. I ordered them, pick up in store. They kept canceling my order. So I was like, oh, forget it. I'm going to go ahead and order it, ship it to my house. I had to pay I had to buy $45 worth of stuff. So I didn't have to pay $6 shipping on a, you know, $15 screwdriver. And then as soon as I got them, the next day I go on Lowe's and they've got them out there. But anytime I do that, I just buy big stretch caulk, microfiber towels, stuff that I use all the time. I just make sure I spend at least $45. Home Depot's been moving rigid plumbing tools out for Milwaukee tools, it looks like. Yeah. Milwaukee's taken over most of my Home Depot for the most part. It's about everywhere. BBQ man, Klein should be paying you a commission. I've spent several hundred on Klein alone. I hope you have at least made something on your links for the tools I used to buy. Yeah, I always make a little bit. Like if you use I'm only an affiliate with Amazon. So like the links in my description that are Amazon links, I get a little bit of, and it's nothing significant, but it adds up if there's a lot of people that do it. What ends up really being something is like, because you don't only just get like, say I put a link for that 13-in-1 pocket screwdriver. Well, if you follow that link and you buy the 13-in-1 pocket screwdriver, or if you buy anything else on Amazon or whatever, you know, I get a percentage of anything else that you buy. So like even if you follow a link and you don't end up buying it and you get something else, it ends up helping because I get a little, and again, it's nothing significant, but if enough people do it, it all adds up. It basically buys some of my tools is what it ends up doing. But even like the shop links, like on Lowe's, like the other day, somebody must have bought drywall and everything. They clicked on one of my Klein links and got something, but then they also bought drywall for a whole house and insulation and all kinds of stuff. And it ended up being a pretty good chunk of change is what it ended up being. But it all helps out. Like, I really appreciate it whenever y'all do that. Like I said, nobody has to, but if you do, it just makes it to where, you know, I've got money to where whenever I see this, I can buy it and make a video about it. And some of you can decide if you like it or not and that kind of stuff. Because there's some tools I might not would buy, but because I've got Amazon money or whatever from where y'all click links, I go ahead and buy them and just try them out. I do low voltage electrical, so I deal with small gauge wires. Yeah, see, that's whenever you have to get the forged wire stripper, and they don't even go down crazy small. Most of the time, I know a lot of people with the low voltage, you've got those smaller type strippers that I don't really use all that often, but that's the only downside, again, to the electrical installation pliers. But he said he's got a set of snap-on, and he's used that style for years. When they get dull, I just stop at a snap-on truck and they exchange them. See, that's what a lot of guys, whenever I was first starting to work, they would do that with Craftsman at Sears. They'd go buy their strippers, just buy a Craftsman pair at Sears, use them, and then once they got dull, they just walk in Sears and get them a new pair. You know, pretty good deal. I assume Harbor Freight might do that with their dulls or whatever. I'm not sure, but I don't know if they have to be like broken, or if you can just walk in there and say, these are dull and I want a new pair, and they give them to you. Sears used to do that with Craftsman. The Pliers wrench are awesome for beam clamps. It's raining a little bit outside, not real heavy though, so y'all let me know if y'all can hear the rain. I've always been curious about that. So like, it's raining on my roof, metal roof. If it's ever raining hard, I never can film out here because it's so loud, but y'all can let me know if y'all hear that rain. He only likes the Knipex for MC cutting tools and tactics. Yeah, and see, that's what I work with most of the time, so I think that's why I like them so much more than what maybe he does. I want them spring-loaded installation pliers, but they're only in metric. Yeah, and I'm the same way, and normally I'm against spring-loaded pliers. I normally don't like them. That's like these right here. I don't like those. I don't mind the spring working with them, but I hate that in my tool bag. I don't like that in my tool bag, but the Knipex forged wire strippers, where the little thumb thing is on the side, it's fantastic. Like, I don't mind them at all. I actually prefer that they are because it's so easy to lock and unlock them. But I hate them if they don't have a good lock. Like, these don't even have a lock on them. They just stay like that. So putting them in and out of your bag, it's crazy. The Jack Bauer seal of approval. Napa Carlisle Tools has the same stripper also. I can tell it's raining, but not too loud. But yeah, it's not super heavy. Like, there's times when it's raining really hard, I'm like, I guarantee you I wouldn't be able to be out here filming on that. So Aqua Boss, I use the Knipex Forge for smaller than 20 gauge. You just got to lean it slightly. That's how I've always dealt with the small wire. Very small wire. A lot of times I just use my diagonals, and then because I always carry my forged wire strippers and diagonals. Like, I carry a pair of diagonals too, just because sometimes you need to get in a, you know, it's different having your cutter out on the end of a tool versus in here. There's sometimes where you can't get that cutter on whatever you want to anyways. So sometimes with my, like, fire alarm wire especially, it's like, I think it's an 18. I'll just take it and kind of pinch just slightly, and then it'll pop right off. I can hear rain, it's normal, much just soothing at worst. Well, it's not very heavy. Like I said, it's just sprinkling, so. I've been using your Amazon links instead of buying directly from Lowe's. Happy Turkey Day. Appreciate that, Arma 15. Like I said, if you want to support me, the best way to do the Lowe's is to click the shop thing, because what the shop thing is, just so y'all know, is I'm not an affiliate with Lowe's. I'm not an affiliate with Home Depot. I'm only an affiliate with Amazon, so anything else I'm not an affiliate with. But what YouTube has done is some of the stuff that y'all see in those YouTube shop buttons, I don't put them there. YouTube does. Like, they've got something that scans your video and puts stuff in there, but I can put stuff in there. And basically, I think what it is YouTube is an affiliate with Home Depot, Lowe's, and all those places. And if I put the stuff in there, or they put it in there, and you click those, they give me a portion of whatever it is that company pays them or whatever. So in a way, I'm affiliated with them, but not directly. I'm only really affiliated with YouTube and Amazon, But if you buy something through those YouTube shop links, since it came from my video, they end up giving me something, you know. And again, it's never a lot of money. It doesn't cost you guys anything. It's never a lot of money, but if a lot of people do it, again, I only have however many thousand subscribers. I can see where if you've got a ton of people and they all buy stuff off of it, it could probably really add up to something over the course of time. But for me, it's tool money is what it is. So I appreciate it anytime y'all do it. It just lets me buy more tools. Matt HMM wants the lock. Yep. So soothing, you fall asleep, don't snore too loud. Killtronic said, getting snow right now. Vegans Cookie said, we had a day this week where it spit snow for a little while, like just barely, but it was cold enough. And we're supposed to actually, I think it's this rain right here that's coming right now. After this, it's supposed to get pretty cold here. This rain's going to cool it off quite a bit. I think we're supposed to start getting down below freezing and all that kind of stuff. Again, I live in Kentucky. We have winters here where every now and then, like there may be a year where we get a couple pretty decent snows, and I'm talking like you'd laugh at it if you were from up north, 6 inches or something like that, sometimes a foot, but that's like once in a while. Now I have had it before, like it's probably happened about 2 or 3 times in my lifetime where we've got like several feet of snow, but not very often. And then here lately, our winters have been, for the most part, if you get down in the teens, that's about as cold as it gets. And then you might have 1 or 2 days where it's 0 to 10, but for the most part, we're kind of in the teens. And then a lot of times it just stays kind of in the 20s and really low 30s. But every now and then, we're supposed to have a really cold winter this year. That's what they say, but they've said it before and we don't, so I don't know. Now, I have, back whenever, it's been a long time ago, I worked for a company in tool and die, and then they were building a plant here. So while they were building the presses and all that kind of stuff, we were traveling back and forth to Michigan. I was going up to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and working for 2 weeks at a time and coming home for a week, working in a tool and die shop up there. And the whole time that I was going up there, it was like winter time. And I remember the first time that we got there, I flew into Detroit and got a rental car and drove from there to Grand Rapids. And it was snowing like, I mean, you couldn't even see like in front of your face. Like, I don't even know how we ended up getting to the hotel and all that stuff. But we got to the hotel and the snow was up to my waist. And I was like, I don't even know why we're here, because we ain't even going to get out of this hotel room for like 2 weeks. Like, there's no way we're going to get anywhere in this stuff. And like, I woke up the next morning, opened my window, and I was expecting like you not even be able to see our car or whatever, but every road was 100% clear. Like, if we would have got a snow like that where I live, like we would have been shut down for a month and a half. Like, I guarantee you we would have. But like, every road was clear, had no problem getting there, all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty crazy, but it was so cold. Like, I remember one time with the wind chill and everything, I wanted to say, they said it was like negative 30 or I don't remember what it was. It was something crazy. But just between the car and the door at the tool and die shop, getting out, like going in, like I could feel ice forming in my nose every time I breathed in and out. And I just was like, this is crazy. But I remember I was sitting at the break table, because this was another tool and die shop. Like, so they had workers there that lived there, and they were there all the time. And the guys said, I asked them, I said, so you guys went to school, I assume, right? And they was like, yeah. And they was like, well, I said, did you have a class where like they showed you a map and you got to see that there's places around the world, all that kind of stuff? Like, do you have geography and stuff like that? Well, yeah. I was like, so you know that you don't have to live here, right? Like, you know that like this is a place, but there are other places out there. And they started laughing. I was like, there's no way I would live here in this like all the time. They're like, oh, it gets really nice during the summertime. But I was there for the whole winter, part of spring, and like I was like, no, I couldn't live in that all the time. It was too cold. Like, it was crazy. But again, that's because I'm coming from somewhere where it doesn't get like that. Like, once you live in it for a long time, it's no big deal. But yeah, it was crazy. Killtronics, I'm in Southern Illinois myself. Matt says, I grew up in Michigan. It is cold. We had snow half up my doors. What's this snow y'all speak of? Somebody said, Central Cali here. So glad we don't deal with snow or cold under 30. LOL spoiled. Matt HMM, we had to walk to school in high school in the teens, no problem. There's Brian Hall, late to the game. I mentioned you earlier on your good idea on the magnetic pickup tool. We had a Ram Charger snowplow to get around. Yeah, that was that was the coldest I've ever been, and then again the most snow at one time that I've seen, and then how fast they cleared the roads just was like beyond me. Because like I said, if that same snow had fallen where I lived, we would have been like, you wouldn't have been able to get out for at least a week and a half. Because even now, if we get like 6 inches or something like that, I mean, they'll clear the main roads to where you can get to town and stuff like that, but like they don't work on like the road that I live on and all that stuff. If you don't have 4-wheel drive, you're not getting out for a while. Or if you can't drive front wheel drive at least halfway decent. The 454 had a 40-gallon tank of gas for a reason. But yeah, I knew that I went ahead and came out here to do a live because I was wanting to go ahead and answer these precision driver questions, and I probably won't be able to do a live the rest of this week, obviously, because we're going to have people in and everybody else is going to be doing stuff too, so I wasn't going to bug anybody and have y'all on here whenever you got your family sitting around a Thanksgiving table. And then Saturday, I'm probably still going to have people here too, so I don't know if I'll come on before the guest of trade type thing. I already do have the guest of trade for Saturday. I filmed it when I filmed the last one. That's why I did a reload episode, so I'd be able to go ahead and do it, because this week, of course, if any of y'all are in this business, unless you're going to work some, anytime you take a day off, you got to do double the day before or double the day after. So, I'm not working the next couple days. So you had a bunch of stuff that you had to try to hurry up and fit in like Monday through Wednesday. And then you're going to have a bunch of stuff when you get done probably to go back to. So that's the way it goes when nobody else does your job when you don't work, which is the case for most of us. Brian said, dang, I missed my internet famous moment. You missed your 17 seconds of fame, Brian. Do you think Klein is going away from the yellow handle pliers wrench? A lot of people didn't. I'm assuming y'all are talking about the one with the reversible jaw thing, because I don't know if they had another yellow handle one that looked like this orange one. I never had seen it if it was. But there's a lot of people that had problems with that one. Like, that's why I never bought it, because the reviews weren't really great on it. But I know some people that really like it too. I was going to buy it back when they were clearancing it out at Home Depot. I kept watching it because it was kind of the same thing as this to me. It's like I didn't necessarily want it, but I wanted to try it because I'm just a tool person and I wanted to be able to see it. But I didn't want to pay the full price for it. So if I could get a deal on it, I was like, well, I'll buy it. And then if I don't like it, I don't like it. But somebody had bought them all out right when they dropped the price, so I didn't end up getting one of those. But most of the people that I know with the reversible jaw one, they had a problem with either the head just falling off or, whatever else. Walked to school in the snow, uphill both ways, the grandparents would say. 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. today here. That's what Matt said he worked. We get black ice around here. The newbies learn hard. Yeah, that's something that we get a lot of too, because we don't get enough snow or anything, but then it usually what happens is our weather always gets down below freezing at night if it's going to, and then during the day it's typically not. That's kind of the wet. We don't have it to where it's just freezing all the time. So what always happens is it rains and then it freezes overnight, and then you get a lot of black ice and stuff like that. That's what we end up having, a lot of that too. Matt said the yellow reversible jaw versions suck, and it was made in the USA. Yeah, again, that's to my point. It's, again, I fully understand buy made in the USA if you want to be patriotic and, you want to support your country. But to just say, well, that's made in the USA, it's got to be better than this. Well, I can go out to most restaurants and stores I go into now, and the service and everything is way different than what it used to be. So I can be guaranteed that made in the USA in a factory in USA is probably not going to be the same as what made in the USA used to be too. So I think it's a little bit different story on quality wise. Again, I'm not saying that there might be some made in the USA tools out there that are still top-notch quality, but I wouldn't be shocked if you bought some made in the USA stuff it's still being made by some people who probably don't care about their job and you know, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really matter that it's made in the USA if it's made by people who aren't really wanting to be proud of making it. That's the big difference. It's the same thing within our own trade and whatever it is we do. There's a big difference between there's an electrician who cares what he does and there's an electrician who doesn't care what he does. Well, they both work in the same city. They're both electricians, but there's a difference between the outcome of what they do because of one of them cares and one of them doesn't. And I don't see a lot of care out there, you know, these days in the stores that I go into. Killtronics, I'm self-employed, so when I take off, I don't get paid, but I still have to answer the phone for problems a customer may have. Seems like nothing breaks till I take time off. Yeah, it's the way it always goes. The voice of the many outweighs the influencer. The few Milwaukee tools I bought that have been made in the USA seem to be good. Yeah, I've only bought the lineman pliers, and they're pretty decent, I think. And then the screwdrivers, and they're probably okay. I don't like Milwaukee's handles. I mean, but they're a screwdriver. There's not really a lot that can go wrong with them unless you use them like you're not supposed to. We get a lot more than black ice up here in Alaska. Yeah, I'd say so. That's Derek Knobloch said. Me and my wife really want to go to Alaska. That's been on our. We were actually going to go this year. And then we were planning on going around our anniversary time. It's our 25th anniversary this year, and we were going to go. And we had grandbaby maintenance was going to be coming about that time, we found out. So we ended up putting the kibosh on that because we didn't want to be that far away. So we're planning on getting up there some point in time. Clock is stuck again. Yeah, I never did change the batteries. Actually, I took it off the wall, and it started working on me. So then I still need to do that. Or Klein clocks do not work either. Let me look at the back. It's probably made in China. Yep. Well, I doubt I'll be able to get that to show up. It's right here on the very bottom. Let's see if I can get that to focus. I don't think so, but made in China. It's a little bit of a loud dude too. But see, it just started working whenever I pulled it off there. I think it's a mix of the batteries, and then also it's something about the way I've got it tilted there. I think it puts pressure on something and it doesn't work right too. When I worked at Leatherman, there was a 0.001 tolerance on parts, and they would let stuff go. That was 10,000ths of crap parts. My wife said that I'm not allowed to watch you anymore because I keep buying tools, and I see in your reviews watching you in secret in my truck right now. Don't tell her it's parsley time. That reminds me of Nate Bargatze. He's got a joke where he's talking about the Life 360 on your phones. He's like, that's the worst thing ever for like a husband and wife relationship. He's like, you know, because then your wife just calls you up and says, what are you doing at Krispy Kreme right now? And he's like, how do you even know that I'm at Krispy Kreme? It's because she's got him on Life on 360. So he said, so now I got to go to the gym and put my phone in a locker and then go to the donut store and eat donuts. And he's like, and I'm not doing this all the time. But that's kind of the way that is. You got to do it in secret. The only place a Leatherman is assembled is in Portland. Somebody said 0.0000. Yeah, I'll go to 0.00 on my jobs whenever I do mine because that's what my stability level goes to. So I make sure all my framing is at either 90.00 or 00.00. Well, I don't think the light's going to flash on us. I'll have to answer him that separately. And I still got 2 bars. I'm telling you, that thing lasts forever. Like, I've had that same 5.0 battery in it, and I swapped it over to that one because it had 2 bars whenever I started. And that's on the high setting. I used it the other day I was putting up several lights in a room where I had to kill all the power, and I had it on full bore, for like 2 or 3 hours, and like no change in the charge on my 5.0. Like it's lasted. That's the whole reason why I got that one. You know, a lot of people are like, that's crazy for that light. It's like, but if I can put a battery in it and like use it for like a month at a time, I mean, that's crazy. I've had it on, I mean, it's been on high for 120 minutes, and 2 bars were on that battery, and 2 bars are still on that battery, and I've had it on high for, 2 hours now, almost, so not even close to blinking. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off here, guys. Been on here for a couple hours. I got to get going anyways. I got to go somewhere at 6:30. So appreciate y'all all being in here. We've had a pretty good time. Hopefully I answered all the questions there. That's all of them that I can remember of. That I normally just, if I see a question that I feel like it would be answered better by me sticking the stuff out here, I just screenshot it, and that way it reminds me. But I won't be able to answer the blinking thing. I'll just have to still let him know. I'll probably come out here tomorrow while I'm cleaning up stuff and turn it on again. So if I get that answer, I'll let him know. I'm sure it does. I mean, every other Milwaukee light I've got, that's a battery powered, like tool battery. They all blink whenever I do that. So Tumbleweed said, thanks, man. Appreciate what you do. Appreciate you too, buddy. But y'all have a good Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much after Thanksgiving. I might have to hit it hard. I might have to lose some of this belly and all this stuff. I'm getting a little bit too tubby. Have a good Thanksgiving. Don't let your friends eat you. Take care, Joey. Terry Burton said, have a good one. Morgan's Maintenance Chicken Fried Steak. And happy holidays, everyone. Yep, y'all have a good one. I'll probably see y'all Saturday, maybe for the Guest of Trade chat if y'all are available. I'm sure I'll be in there, but I don't think I'll do a live that day. It just depends on if I still got family in or not. But hope y'all have a good rest of your night, good rest of your day, and a happy Thanksgiving. And I'll see y'all on the next one.